Welcome to Theatre Fest 2021. This year's festival is on a pay-as-you-will basis. To donate, please visit theatrefest.co.uk and click Donate in the menu bar. We'd like to say a huge thank you to our festival sponsors, Tallow Homes and to Fullerbrook, who funded the purchase of equipment to make this happen. And also to Rosie Brasher Solicitors, the Plough at St Anne's, the Bridge Trust, Golden Line Tap and Town Centre Management for providing spaces. Thank you for attending Fringe Theatre Fest 2021 and enjoy the show.
I was stuck down here in Devon for the first lockdown. It was weird being back. It feels like such a long time ago now, but long enough to get my thoughts in some kind of order. Coming back to the sea, to these streets, it was weird. Because it is beautiful, I know that. People always say. They come down here for the weekend or to visit their nan. But for me, it was hard to make that holiday feeling last for 18 years. You see a different side of it when you actually live in these places. In between the concrete and the sea, this rural patchwork surrounding suburban poverty. The English Riviera, the Riv, Torbados. It's a place where the young mums will scare you and the local delicacy is a pile of chips but no gravy. We're not northerners. So I was back here for the first time properly in about 10 years. A lot's changed and a lot hasn't. I'm still scared sometimes. I still struggle, and when things get tough, I still go back to old habits like a nun who's forgotten to do our laundry. Now though, it's a bit different. I have my own axis, I am my own centre, still spinning but more me. I realised over time that I like girls and boys in that way. I realised that I like people who are neither, people who are beyond the binary, and that sexuality and gender is as fluid as the sea. I realised that I'd found a community that loves me, that sees me. A community whose love has been disbelieved and rejected and tried and tested but never broken. When I was home, I spent nights alone in my parents' attic, lipstick smeared, tuned in to the charged static of online queer parties. I came out to my family. I came out to myself. So this is a letter to me. It's a bottle, a capsule of conversations between me and my home and the sea. It's a letter about everything that I've felt living down here and being back here. It's a letter about wounds and about salt and water and about me. Because I wanted to write about water, and my earliest memory of that is bath times. It's kind of like the sea, you can piss in the bath. And it doesn't matter, your worries and all your worldly, weary fluids are washed away. So yeah, I was thinking about bath times, about parental hands holding me, passing me the hypoallergenic soap that I needed for my eczema-ridden skin, this blonde smiling child learning for the first time how it feels to be submersed. And I wonder if you remember those times holding oceans in your wrinkled hands, a bath time world within your limits before you knew what bloodstains were. That intimate routine of gathering water between palms, something safe, something lost down drains, gifted to the sewers and the seas. So I'm thinking about bath times, but also all the times I spent not knowing who I was. This body by the water that's only just learning how to swim. Because I've heard people say that water is both the beginning and the end of all that breathes. And growing up along the coastline, in between those seaside scenes, I felt that. I still feel that. I feel that in a way that is hard to describe, these thoughts of life and loss and trying to remember who I am. Because life as a young person in seaside suburbia is a singular experience. You don't share the Kodak memories or sun-bleached moments of friends, lovers and holiday makers you meet later in life. Your days haven't played out in sepia. They are not like the adverts for holiday parks 2 miles from your house. Even less so when you know you don't belong there. Even less so when you're queer, even before you realise that the way you love, the way you see yourself and the intricacies of your body are not accepted, not understood, not part of anyone's postcard. Because the thing is, I didn't understand these things about myself for a long time, and I feel lucky that my family were never particularly judgmental, but apart from that, there was no language, no knowledge of what people could be and who they could love. Apart from the kids on the estate shouting slurs at me for wearing tight jeans, there was nothing. There was no one to hold these parts of me that were so small for so long. No one to show me the love and the beauty that is possible to see in other people. And despite some people's assumptions, I knew I wasn't gay. And that's all I had to go on, so I dated girls. And I was tender, loving friends with boys, not knowing for so long that there could be more. For some of us, the ocean swallows our secrets. It makes us disappear, it hides us until we emerge sometime later, dripping with everything we learned. But for me, it's not as deep as that. In this land of hook-scarred seals who beg for remnant scraps of fish and chips and mothers queue for methadone scripts like the seals, they're looking for acknowledgement in the shadows of the piers and Polaroids. The knowledge that they are needed, the knowledge that they have space on their shores. It's not something that I ever found here, but I'm still looking. My hometown, Torquay, was once one of the richest towns in England. In the 1800s, it was known as the English Riviera, a boom of tourism and industry. But now it's in the top 15% of deprived districts in the country. 40% of households are on the edge of poverty. It has the highest rates of children in care in the UK and the second highest rates of suicide and overdoses. I guess the brightest lights cast the longest shadows. Because on this island, we're never any further than 70 miles from the coast. But a lot can happen in that space. Sea glass gives its glow between the bottle caps and starfish hearts, and I consider how my light is spent. where it all began, these atoms dancing on clay red rock between the plains of concrete and cul-de-sacs that I could not navigate in this body assigned coastal at birth. And I'm just writing letters and letters and letters to myself, and paper falling out of my hands, because it's hard to describe. As the loneliness of adolescence crept up on me all those years ago, I shrank back from the beaches and into the cracks between the cliff tops, the burnt out parks, the council estates. We would pitch up tents in the woods, live like castaways, nursing lukewarm tinnies, and pretending that we weren't scared of anything. The weekly displays of fragile manhood, of broken bottles and smashed noses on nights out, and the comings and goings of the junkies and the speed freaks was hard to ignore. This was my postcard, my seaside dream, and for a long time the powders, pills and joints in front rooms and dimly lit parks obscured any sense that I had of my own softness. This tender sexuality that sat beneath the surface, bobbing like the bottles we threw in the sea. And whilst others treated it like a holiday and placed seashells to their ears to hear the wind and waves, I was busy trying to find anything to drown out those same sounds. I, useless though my soul more bent by air that shapes the summer, white noise of life and light denied. The view from halfway down became something that I held too close. These landscapes crossed out in black biro scribble, lungs filled with honey and ash from the fires we set on the beach. And I realised that those 70 miles would always be a solid line, submerged in earth and sky, 1,000 splendid suns, and never quite reach my skin. Sunlit beaches burn like cigarette butts in the palm of my hand, and I heard transmissions from a vanishing shoreline, and I told the sea that I would call it back when I'm ready. And I've been to the beach a lot of times in the last few months. I've been stuck back down here with nowhere else to go. After years of trying to forget I'd ever been here, I've danced on these rocks and shouted at the waves. I've floated in the water and let it wash away the layers of myself that no longer serve me. I let the sea discover my queerness, let the salt seep into my lilac soul. I've had dates with boys on Zoom and worn my sister's pink jeans, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself, and it feels good. It feels good, but it's still hard to talk about, because when you're someone that struggled with their mental health, the sea can mean a lot of things. I get it, I felt the glow of sunsets on sand, but I've also looked into the water. I've imagined being swallowed beneath its surface and wondered how long it would take for me to sink beneath the waves. Its vastness has become a vessel for my pain. I've looked into the water. I've seen its sweet embrace. It's called me by my name, told me that my solace sits just beneath its surface. And I've wished for nothing less than total, soaking silence. I have sworn at the sea and made love to its waves. I have lost and then found hope in its waters. And I realised eventually, after months of being down here, that somehow the sea had swallowed my queerness, but that it could also be returned by the same thing. Fluid and infinite, it was returned by the oceans that had held it for so long. And now, I know my God is broken piers and hungry seals. My God is smashed bottles on the beach and sweaty fingers intertwined beneath the boardwalk. I know my God is sand and sea. I know my God is queer. I know that I am seen.
Lovely.